Hey there, my name is Scott McKnight. My wife and I, we help individuals navigate insurance and recovery after a house fire. These videos are from our experience, from tips and tricks that we have learned, from information that we have gathered that was not available to us after our house fire. And this is not to replace legal or professional advice. Again, this information is not legal or professional advice, simply based upon our experience. If you find this video to be helpful, if you find any of this to be relevant to you, we'd like you to like and subscribe to these videos. We have over 20 videos that we're going to be dripping out that will be sharing more information about what to do, how to navigate, how to recover effectively after a house fire. Please consider joining our free Facebook group. Information about that in the description below. We also have a book that we have written that takes these videos a little bit further, shares a little bit more about our personal journey, our personal experience. Again, a link for that is below. We also have a online video course that you can pay to participate, to go through and to have a more guided experience as we further describe and unfold navigating insurance and recovery. What you will find is that a lot of times individuals really care. They really want to do more. They really want to do better. But this video is going to be specific to family and friends of those who have experienced a house fire. So if you are a family member, a friend, a loved one, somebody who cares about an individual who had had a house fire, thank you very much for joining this video. Thank you very much for listening. Would really encourage you to take out a piece of paper and a pen, begin taking some notes. We'd love to be able to have you just further describe what it's like being in your shoes, and really being there to help support this individual or this family who has gone through a house fire. This is very much likely their most traumatic and tragic event that they've had in their life, and they don't know what they need. They don't know what they don't know yet. And you simply being there and supporting them and loving on them is going to be helpful. It may not feel helpful immediately for them. They may resist accepting help. They may resist accepting anybody coming too close. But we'd like to share with you a little bit more about what are some things you can do as a family member, as a friend, as a loved one, as somebody who just cares about somebody else who's experienced a house fire. Because we've had many people ask us, Scott, Lydia, what can we do to help this individual? What can we do to help this family? Because right now we just don't know what they need, and they're not sharing with us what they need. So here's the reality. They may not know what they need. They may not know what they need. They may not know what they want. They may not know what the next steps look like. Two of the questions we continue to ask, and we've heard many people go through and ask the same questions, are what now and what next? And the reality is they don't know what is now. They don't know what's happening next, because they have experienced an overwhelming amount of emotion, overwhelming amount of thoughts and battles. Some things that you say or do can be helpful. There are other things that you can do or say that can be hurtful. You say, well, I wouldn't intend to be hurtful. Well, of course not. But there are some things that you might say, like, at least you still have each other. At least no one died. You're going to get a new house out of this. Or just keep positive thoughts. None of those things are supportive. And maybe me saying that to you right now, you're like, well, yeah, it doesn't sound supportive at all. But unfortunately, there's a lot of people who have heard those same statements. We heard those statements. And we heard that from friends. We heard that from family members. We heard that from people who we cared about. Maybe you compare an event in your life to something of their experience. It's not the same. Even if you have experienced a house fire, it's just not the same. Maybe pretending that you know how they feel, or you know how they should feel, or believing that you have all the right answers. It's not the right thing. So what do we suggest? So again, if you've got a piece of paper, strongly encourage you to write these things down, list them out, describe them, unpack them a little bit. But these were some things that were really, truly helpful for us. First thing, prayer. Above all things, our faith in Jesus Christ, the faith of those around us, is what helped get us through the tragedy in this event. Okay? Not faith in those people, but truly the Christian faith of those people is what helped us get through our event. And we truly believe that without our relationship with Jesus, that our personal outcomes would have been different. And we truly believe that prayer is always the answer. So the next thing, be a listening ear. Okay? Be a listening ear. You may feel like there's nothing you can do. You may feel like your loved one is not taking your advice. They may not. Your advice may be well-meaning. However, you have not experienced the exact same event that they did. Our experience was not the same as what your loved one has experienced. No two events are identical. Each one is unique. They're unique with different factors. Maybe your loved one didn't have insurance. That's a significant change. Okay. Even if they had insurance, this is still a traumatic, significant event in their life. They don't know what's coming next. Sometimes your best support is simply just being there, listening, and not speaking. I know because I have personal challenges with doing it. I like to be able to speak. I like to be able to offer a solution, offer advice. I'm not necessarily good at sitting down and sitting on my hands and not necessarily saying or doing the right thing. So I'm saying this as much to me as I am for you. The next thing, do not offer false comfort. Do not offer false comfort. So, such as some of the comments we made earlier, or simply saying it was for the best, or you'll get over it in time. Those are really hurtful things. So instead of that, just simply say, I'm sorry, I don't know what to say, and listen. The next one, be patient. They are trying to process this loss, and they are uncertain how it's going to impact them both now and in the months and the years ahead. Please be patient with them. They don't know what they need. They don't know what they want. They don't know if they need food, fuel, or money. They just want their life to be back to normal. They want their home to be back, and it's not. Be patient with them. It's going to take time. So those are some of the intangible things, if you will. So let's talk about some of the tangible things, some of the things that you can physically do. If you're one person who really wants to give and do and be there, let's talk about that. So first is financially. We had strangers show up the day of our fire, people we had no clue who they were. And they were giving us $20 bills, $100 bills. And we're like, who are you? Had no clue. They never met us. We didn't know who they were. We were simply humbled at their generosity. So although cash is always welcome, gift cards and gas cards are also equally supportive and helpful. Find out where they enjoy a meal, where they shop, where they get gas. Grab some cards for those locations. Really helpful. Every little bit helps. Also charity. It can be helpful sometimes to set up a charity. Like, there's some common ones like GoFundMe for a loved one, especially when insurance is not an option. If insurance is not an option, you must have charity. There is no way around. They just lost everything. They've got to have charitable contributions. But even if they had insurance, it's going to take weeks to get money. It's going to take weeks to get that money. Food, we had many people who were eager to provide us with food. It was amazing. But here's the problem. You don't have storage immediately following your house fire. Where are you going to put it? So we appreciated the gesture, although in the immediate aftermath, the first 48 hours, the first 72 hours, the first 96 hours, we really just wanted to have gas cards and gift cards and cash. That's what we really found helpful. Once we were in a place, we ended up going to a rental in between. Some people go to an RV, some people are in a hotel, some people are in an apartment, some people are in independent housing. It all just depends. Once they're in a somewhat stable place where they can physically plug in something like a crock pot, then taking items that are like that, prepared meals. That was helpful. If they have a place to store frozen meals or refrigerated food, that's even better. But again, they may not have the same size unit that they had before. When we finally moved back into a rental and we had space to store stuff, being gifted with groceries, that was huge. But when you think about groceries so they can prepare food, also think about how they're going to prepare food. Pots and pans and silverware and, spatulas and ladles and scoops and all this other stuff. But also don't forget about the spices, like salt and pepper and garlic and paprika and cumin and Italian seasoning and sugar, and the list goes on and on. They got to have food, but they also need a way to prepare the food, and they also want something to flavor the food with. Think about that. Babysitting. Babysitting was really helpful at different times. However, be careful with this because babysitting can also be hurtful as well. You're like, well, how can babysitting be hurtful? Babysitting can be hurtful by the idea that it can feel like people are taking away your kids. Okay. So if you feel like people are taking away your kids, babysitting can feel really hurtful. It's not a comfortable feeling at all. So be careful with that. So if they're accepting a babysitting, okay, great. Sometimes just having a night of solace would be great. But also when you're going back out and you have to prepare an inventory, take photos, and start making lists and doing some cleanup, and it's helpful to be able to have, kids in a safe place, a clean, safe place. Storage. Depending upon the extent of the loss, they're going to have items that they need to store away from their current place, wherever their current place is. So if you have a garage, if you have a storage unit, if you have just space available, space outside, space in a basement, they're probably going to need space to be able to store their items, both before restoration, if they have items that can be restored, and then also once they start getting items back from restoration, they take up space, and you're not really planning for where you're going to put, say, like blankets and clothes and big items. You're not really planning for that. So maybe it's cars. Maybe they need to be able to park the car outside or in a locked area. So think about that. Storage is certainly an option. Next thing, lodging, where to stay, right? So they need a place to stay. They need a place to be able to go somewhere. Again, whether that's you financially providing and compensating for that, or providing gift cards for that, or donating like points for, like, if you have like a hotel chain that you've historically stayed at and you have points there, that could be really cool. Or opening up your home, opening up a rental, opening up another place for them to go. That's helpful. Riding with an RV, that could even be another option, like a camper. Another one, manual labor. Okay, they are going to need assistance at some point with labor, whether that's moving items, whether that's moving furniture, whether that's during cleanup, whether that's overhaul, whether that's construction. If you're skilled with anything, your service is going to be well appreciated. It's going to be huge if you have time to do that. Okay, but manual labor is going to be a big thing. So either you providing it or you financially supporting it. And then kind of the last two big things, being flexible. Again, your family member just had a really catastrophic event. They're going to continue to ask the two questions, why, or what now, and what next. They're going to keep asking why. Like, why did this happen? And why is this? And why is that? And can you explain it? Unfortunately, answers are not always simple. They're not necessarily immediate or clear. But if you can remain compassionate, supportive, and flexible, your efforts will go much farther. Lastly, encourage professional help when necessary. So whether that's medical support, that's mental health support, maybe that is counseling support, again, falling into the mental health aspect. Maybe it's construction support. If you know somebody in the construction space, and we'll talk more about contractors later. So if you're a contractor, I don't want to discredit your work. I don't want to say, oh, don't offer support. You can offer support, but please know that help after a house fire is completely different than a general rehab project or a restoration project or whatever. But your service and your support, your knowledge will certainly be helpful as this starts coming back together. So again, your loved one may politely deny the initial need for support because, quite honestly, they don't know what they need or they don't know what they don't know. And after all, they had insurance coverage. I mean, that should be taken care of, right? They had insurance. It should be just fine. They may not want to be a burden to you. So accept their initial denial, accept that they're okay and they don't need your help. Just be there to listen. Give grace, be patient, continue to show up and present. Just be there for your family. Be there for your loved one. Be there for your friend. They don't know what they need. They don't know what they don't know yet. You can show support to them by doing a few things, being present, doing the 9 or 10 things that we listed. You can also send them to our free Facebook group. We offer free support in there. We offer guidance based on our experience, and others chime in willingly because they want you to feel supported. They want you as a family member to feel supported because they didn't have support when they were in the same situation, but they also want others to feel supported. If you would be encouraged, we'd ask that you would consider purchasing our book. We have a link for that in the description below. Super helpful, not only for us to continue to be able to put out this content, but also it would be awesome for you to contribute that to your loved one as a tool in their tool belt, or paying for coming to our course that they can join whenever and they can just be able to get access to that. Maybe if you found this to be helpful, consider buying a few copies of books and providing that to your local fire department, your local independent insurance agents, local contractors. Those are always going to be helpful as well. Okay. So again, if you found this to be helpful, like and subscribe. We thank you so much for joining us with this. And as a family member, a loved one, a friend, thank you for being there. Truly, thank you. We appreciate that. Your loved one appreciates that, even if they don't realize that they appreciate it yet. And have them stay tuned. Stay tuned for you as well, as we can begin to uncover some more details around the navigating the insurance process and going through the recovery efforts following the house fire. I think it would be helpful for you as well. Thank you very much, and see you on the next one.